Can really give you all a show. You know what we do on Sundays? We put on a show. What is this, Brooklyn? Church Avenue, people? I soon to get to my spot. Won't have you waiting so much longer before we start the real action. Let me pay attention to the streets because it's street crossing before I get run over by an elf or something. Almost there, Charlie. Almost, almost. Okay, Charlie, I'm home.
Greetings. Greetings, everyone.
Greetings and
Charlie,
blessed.
return blessings. Shiloh, blessings.
Isle blessed love.
Greetings,
Bless-
greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings and respect and honor. Yeah.
I finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Give
So,
thanks.
all right. So, who else is in the studio, Charlie?
Right now, myself and the incomparable Peter Shiloh.
Blessed
Okay.
love.
Okay. Well, we welcome
Ye-
Each and everyone to the show this evening. And I don't know, sometimes when we get dropped into deep waters, we just have to swim, right? So this is the kind of deep water situation. I thinking I would have been home more like 6:30. I could all settle myself, but I had to. It just didn't go that way. But all the same, today, Charlie, our show, as they say in Hollywood, the show must go on.
The
Mhm.
show must go on.
So
The
we're gonna
must go
start. I'm
on.
gonna liven it up. I'm gonna quicken it up, and then I'm gonna drop the incomparable Peter Charlotte to do something, and then of course Charlie, you'll pull me out until I can settle myself. But throw us up, man. Give me the countdown. I'm ready.
We we ready? We
Yeah, man.
ready to go. We going down. We already in it.
Oh yeah. So I mean,
We
for my
we,
Catholics listening
we
out there,
already in it. Hold on.
We get my introduction.
Woman Exhilarate presents Empress Sadi Saunders.
wonderful from the music unit. I know we don't have to do the countdown because we're already here. And each and every one this evening, I want to welcome you into the studio, the nice warm place of the Ethiopian World Federation, Local 26, Woman Auxiliary, coming to you live in a live. You know what we do on this side of town? On this side, what we do, we look. Well, we do have a mat, and what we do, we take things from under the mat, we examine them, and we put it back. That's what we do. And sometimes, as we have gotten, lately to find out that the mat sometimes is not big enough, we really need a closet. So we was taking things out of the closet, skeletons was falling out left, right, and center, and we was dealing with that. And as we said, we had some story time where we asked not to call any names, dates, places, or faces. So we can tell a real story in real time. All stories must be of the truth, and that's what we deal with. But some stories are so unbelievable, it's actually stranger than the truth. So we have had our bout with those stories. We went down the rabbit hole, come back up, and we were serving up that kind of dish. I have invited some people onto the show, and I have to realize that everybody is very valuable with time and place. And people let me know how much it will cost to appear on the show. I say it's such a wonderful show that just now people might be paying me to know what's going on the show. So, as I said, we're going to do tonight's topic is the ego. And I want to identify sometimes it's really three of us, which is the physical side, the spiritual side, and the ego. You want to tune in? So, this is what we do on this side. So, tonight we want to talk about the ego, the big man himself. The ego, it's a whole separate person. It can either get us in trouble or help us out of situations. So we have been seeing at this time whereby we are examining the ego. And particularly as we are in the news, there's something that has happened in the news that I really want to bring, and this is a story which is true. And I really cannot understand why the whole story played out like this, except, we're going to examine our topic. So I want to give you this true story. And the only reason I know of the story, it involved three young women who live in Florida. And I don't know if you all are up in the news, but one of the women, young women, 20 something, the party age, one of them, she's from Trinidad and Tobago. As I paid attention to the story, I was gotten the story. So this is the news, not just a story, but a life event. Three young women decided to go on a trip to Bahamas or somewhere thereof, and they were going to stay at the Airbnb. Of course, I can imagine how they save up for this trip. So they all went to Bahamas, and they end up in this club. And they met this guy. I guess, of course, he probably was a fine-looking guy, maybe. But it turned out that the three women decided that they will get a drop back with this guy. Turned out he's staying at the Airbnb not too far away from there. So it seemed pretty all right. When they got back from the club, the three women went to the guy's apartment, which, three women, one guy, maybe nothing. You know, girls, we can do that. So we don't see it as any form of disadvantage. So we can do that. What was what transacted along? The two women left, and one of the young ladies was left with the guy. Maybe that's the one he liked, maybe that's the one she liked. We don't know how the story played out. But unfortunately, the guy and the girl that was left, they went back to the club. For whatever reason, they went back to the club. On their way out of the club, they were followed by some guys or some people. Turned out the guy got shut up by the people who was following him, and the car was caused an accident. And the young lady who was hanging out with him, she died. So this situation is quite tragic. I don't know if you all have seen it in the news. I said the only reason I know about it is because it has been related, somewhat to events in Trinidad and Tobago. So I want us to look at the story and examine the story and to see really what has happened along the way, or where we could have, stopped it before that time. So I'm going to throw the story out there, and I want asking anybody on our panel this evening, have you heard the story?
No,
No,
that's new to me. I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard it either.
Right, but it's a good thing. That's where you get your news from. You get your slice of your pie over here. I'm so
Yes,
sorry I didn't
yes.
wasn't able to prepare myself enough to send the clip because it's something that happened. I also found it necessary to talk about it because it's on another podcast being discussed. So you all have not heard of the story, but since you all are here on the panel and hearing it, it's probably not fair enough to question you all about it, or you want to add anything to this piece of story?
Well, who have eyes to see, you will see. Um, three friends meet a stranger. Why would you want to stay back with a stranger? You understand me? Or why would we allow our friend to stay with the stranger? That's the thing. The other two should not allow that. You understand? Unless she wanted to stay, well, we wouldn't have that because we three came as one. So we three would have whatever happened, we would have to live together. We three. So something is wrong there. You understand? Something definitely wrong there. But
Yeah,
I
well,
Yeah,
personally,
that
but the story isn't that the fella did anything to her, though, right?
no, no, he
That
didn't. He didn't.
that it looked like somebody. I don't know, was somebody after them or was somebody after him?
Well, what happened is from another piece of news, one eyewitness, a young lady, she said there. these guys were trailing the guy in the club because it turned out that this guy has a lot of money. He's very wealthy.
Okay.
So now, where his wealth come from, that is not really on the table. It's quite questionable. He's young, he's attractive, and he has a lot of money. He could be a businessman, win the lottery, whatever. But you know, he didn't do her anything. This is what I'm saying concerning the story where I place it with the ego, because they had left the club. He had gone to her club. She went to his house, and they decided they probably was having such a good time. Let's go back to the club. It's on the way back from the club, he got shut up. And of course, maybe as a driver, you drive, you get shut up. The car will have an accident, and she died. I don't know if she got a bullet as well, or if it was just the accident caused her death. But he
Wait,
directly
he
did not
survived,
do anything. Yeah.
and he survived,
No, the two of them got killed.
or they both died. Wow.
Yeah, because apparently the car got shut up. So the bullets killed him. But I don't know if she
Yeah.
got a stray bullet. But in the event of the car moving and got shot, it had an accident. So the fatalities was there. So when they checked, they realized he got shot. So I don't know if she got shot as well. I'm afraid to report such, and I'm not sure. I'll have to double check the news.
Well,
But this is
she didn't make a righteous decision at all. You can't just
no,
leave somebody as a stranger and gone. You don't know who they are, what they have done. So wisdom. She didn't apply wisdom there at all. No matter what
well,
pleasure you get, me and my friend then would be living together.
Well, exactly, and it's always recommended that if three women go together, any number of
Yes,
women go out together,
yes,
the
yes,
same amount should return together. That was a rule
definitely.
that we
And the
kept.
other two should insist on that if they were really article friends.
No, well,
And
no, this is why
Yeah,
I throw it
what
out.
about the other side of that? What if the other side of that would have been that the other two decided to stay with her, right? And then they all went back out to the bar, and then they all left again, and then this happened. Then it
no,
Well,
could
then,
be where they all will be dead or could have been
no,
put
but we
in
all
harm's
could go
way.
home also. We all could go home and let him go back and leave him.
We could, but we
Yes.
partying. We could. And hindsight, that may have been a better choice. That would have obviously been a better choice,
Of
right?
course, wisdom. They did
Because
not apply wisdom there. Wisdom. In everything you have to apply wisdom. That wouldn't have happened to me personally. I would insist.
all right, but in speaking of our topic this evening, the ego, I will tell you how some things play down. Because in a real situation, I am going to give you another side of the story. There were times, no, I ain't going to call names and dates and places. I'm just telling you all one time. But her name was Marcia. I'm not going to call the year. We went out to a party, and it's probably like five of us because it was two cars. I was a driver for one of the cars, and I think somebody else was a driver. But we went out and we were hanging out, and we went to this guy's house, all of us. And Marcia decided she's staying because she thought he liked her the most. So I'm just dropping it with ego with you. Oh, he chose me, and she stayed. The reason why we left her, we know Marcia's a Polish woman, so she can handle herself. And we left her. It was a case where it wasn't so complicated because we know where she was, we know she's a Polish woman, we know what she walks with, and she don't play. So if anybody was to have a fatality, we'd be really be sorry for the guy. So we left Marcia there, but just to tell you how things work out when women hanging out. We left her there simply because she said, but he chose me, tell me I should stay. And we talk about how egos play along with things. We
hey,
speak.
hey, hey, this is a family show.
I thought. So,
Tell, tell them I'm out
Charlie,
of dollars. I'm out of dollars.
Charlie, we call that a run on. What you call that? No, when when a movie is going on and people get when they get a walk in, a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am I am just telling you, if you all want to know, I have friends on this side. Hi, say hi. Say hi. Hi, Charlie. Oh my But the way you heard that one. So, I am kind of locked down on all corners. So we may have a flasher again swinging by.
Mm-mm.
I'm telling you, this went live. But we are live and alive, and this is your host, Sadie Gomez of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, coming to you live and alive. Normally, when we have moments like that, we go right into commercial. I am telling you, it's not easy to do live. But I must let you know, the participant that passed, I hope, I think you're just sort of tough. But there was some kind of clothing. But when you're advertising beachwear, yeah, I'm just telling you,
Boy, the ratings
what's the,
gonna be up. The ratings are gonna be up this week.
I am just telling you, I'm going to say, what's the company name? It's right at the tip of my tongue, and I can't even get it right now. They are famous for their boxes and everything. What's the company, Rosie? Oh, here he comes again. Oh. I will have to let you. We almost had the flash. Well, Charlie, I told you I was home, in case I lied. You'll find out. Oh my goodness, but we are going to talk about the ego, and I'm just telling you, sometimes when girls are hanging out, it's a case, when there's a guy and he see like three women, he try to play, especially if he's fine looking, has the money, he would just play himself as he's going to choose one. And if that one thinks, well, I'm better than you all, the ego can play a little part of that, and she could have left back with him, even if her friends told her it's time to come home. Because I have had that situation happen to me in a real sort of way. But the fact that we left that person is because we know she can handle herself. Marcia, if you're listening, you know the story, you know the year, you know everything. But we wasn't afraid of letting you go anywhere by yourself, my darling, because we know you as a policewoman and you could handle yourself. And we was just waiting for the jokes after anyway. So we did that, or I have had that experience once. I myself, if I go out with a bunch of girls, I'm coming back home with a bunch of girls. I'm not trying to go in a separate car, separate person. No, I come out with a group, I'm going back with a group. And I think that's the way it should be for safety. That's why I'm still here. Because I've known of people to drive away people. And our mother always warned us, be careful, stay together. I don't want to hear one of you all got driven off by yourself. So we had those rules, and we kept those rules. So I saw the safety in those rules. But we see again how the ego play. And as we're speaking of ego, are we going to drag things some under the mat? There's a war going on by which, Iran and Israel and America is up in a war, seemingly, except the only people that is really using some serious tactics is Iran. And tonight, our topic is about the ego, and we will see how the ego plays off in this. Because as far as the news is coming on this side of town, America is winning the war. Mr. Trump has forced the Hamas Strait to be open, and all set of falsities. But the truth is, our Vice President J.D. Vance went to make talks, and he came back with his tail between his legs. Iran, which is an ancient city, Persia, have fought many wars, many wars, and have never lost. And they came from the background of King Cyrus. So I'll let Charlie, what you think and how ego plays in this war?
I mean, ego is so big is that we got personalities and characters that's willing to kill hundreds and thousands of people just so the truth don't come out about them. That's ego.
That's ego.
Okay. Just so that the Epstein files don't expose this person to be the pedophile that all of the documentation is adding up to be. They're willing to go to war and bomb a whole country, threaten to kill the whole civilization will die tonight. Okay, that's ego, but that's narcissistic ego, because ego could be good and ego could be bad. I often think that somewhere in there, ego is some derivative of God. Um, it is that voice, that observer in your head that's talking to you, right? That's telling you if you do this, it's gonna make you feel this way, that way, or the other. So when it comes to the war, it's all about ego. It's all about ego of a person that's willing to kill innocent people so that their name, which is already dirty, don't get more dirtier than what it is. And it's also ego when you have another country, meaning specifically Israel, that think that they're better than everyone else, and that all the surrounding countries should die, and that they ought to be the ones that's controlling Palestine. They ought to be controlling Lebanon. They ought to be controlling Tehran, Iran, and all of these places. That's ego, and it's ego based off a false premise, it's based off a lie that they God's chosen people, and that these lands was promised to them. That's demonic ego, and they have been exposed for so long. We have been bamboozled into feeling sorry for this country and for these people.
Yeah, man.
We've been bamboozled into believing that they were somebody who they weren't, only to find out that they had stolen our identity. So the empathy that we would normally have when we look at the state of Tel Aviv, when we look at Jerusalem, when we look at what's going on in these places, there's no empathy. We don't feel sorry, because all I see when I look at the demolishment of Jerusalem is what Gaza looked like. They look the same to me. So the scriptures say you reap what you sow. That's the energy that you put out there. So that's the energy that you get back. I don't care how many times y'all go on TV talking about y'all bombed up all of Iran's ships. I don't care how many times you go on TV say you demolished it, you obliterated this, that, or the other, but you still need help. But you
But that
still
was the
want,
ego speaking.
that's ego, you know. Also, that people don't find out for sure that you're a pedophile. That that this information about this little 13-year-old child that said that you raped her, okay, on more than one occasion.
He merely went to a vacation on a private island, and they really don't know what happened over there. So nobody seems to want to exact on the fact that what you're saying, that children were involved, that also to his ego. Because if we should really examine the crime, if this was a bunch of who's over 21 on Epstein Island, it would not been so different. This were 9 and 10-year-old children being taken advantage of. So we see where the ego play along, where you can think there's nothing wrong with that picture.
Right. So I mean, you look at that picture, you compare this scenario with the Diddy scenario
Right. Those are
with the
grown
street
people
ball,
having sex.
right? But those are all grown people, all partying people, adults, consensual adults.
Yes, of course.
With your president of the United States of America, we're talking about kidnapped and trafficked women against their will. We're talking about young girls that you lied to and told them that they were going to be supermodels and that they were going to be on the cover of Glamour magazine and Bazaar, and they were going
Well,
to get this, that, and the
well,
other. And then you
tell
took
me,
advantage of them.
Charlie, if I am in charge of the Miss World competition, I have something to play on. He held that for quite a while.
For
He
quite a
was
while and
the only
bragged
beautiful
about it.
women came trying to be Miss World. Pick me, pick me, pick
He
me.
right. And listen, I know what I could imagine what goes on at this level with these young girls and these beauty pageants and what they're
Holy,
willing to do in order to have the career that they
I will do
say that they
anything.
want. Anything.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, you got to be thinking, well, I let Mikey fill me up and he ain't even got no job. This man is rich.
Yep.
Okay. This could change my life. Da, 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 da. Not
Take me places.
realizing that they've been seduced and being taken advantage of. All right. Even, so it compounds. I mean, but the latest, the craziness now that's coming out is that the president, his wife was like a mail order bride. The rumors is that he bought her from Epstein.
So what you expect? Something like that will go for free? There's a price tag on that.
That's a high price tag.
Sold to the highest bidder. You know it's auction.
So, I mean, it's like it's really getting out of hand. The crazy part or the interesting part is that this war has not distracted anybody from the Epstein files.
No, it hasn't.
All right. We haven't talked about it as much because the news cycles is filled with the war, Iran, the bombing, the Strait of Hormuz, and all of these things. But all of this, this is going to go down in history as the Epstein War.
Oh, yes, because what has happened to complicate matters, I should say, Melania has come out and said she would like the files to be published and for everybody to know about it. And let's just take this out in the open. And this too is an ego trip because what do we want to talk about? What your wife is saying or what you are saying? And who's running the country, by the way?
Listen, what the first lady did was try to preempt a story that I understand is coming out on tomorrow on CNN.
Whoa.
And she is trying to preempt what her long friend, her old friend for over 20 years, who know her better even than Donald Trump, is coming out to say. Now, if you want, I got the video where they talking about it. We can put it up and
You
we can
can play
talk
the video, yeah.
if you want. You want to play the video? Okay, so let's see
Mm-hmm.
uh what we got here.
So our audience or not in studio can take it in and realize, this really going on.
Melania Trump walked up to a podium this week and did something no First Lady has ever done. She denied knowing Jeffrey Epstein, unprompted, unscheduled. A surprise press conference, just to say, I was not his victim. I was not his participant.
The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. I've never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. Give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record.
Washington didn't know what to make of it, but within hours, a verified account on X bearing the name Amanda Ungaro fired back with a public threat, claiming 20 years of proximity to the First Lady and promising to, quote, expose everything she knows. You haven't heard of Amanda Ungaro, but she says she's been in the room for 20 years. She's Brazilian, a model, and she was pulled into the American dream the same way Melania was by the same man, Paolo Zampoli, modeling agent, Trump loyalist, the man credited with discovering Melania, bringing her to America, and handing her quite literally Donald Trump. Zampoli found Ungaro too, recruited her, brought her over. And for years, she says, she sat at the same table, the Mar-a-Lago table, the New Year's Eve table, the one with Donald and Melania at the head of it. She and Zampoli were together for years. They separated in 2023. But the memories, those she kept. Here's where it gets dark. Ungaro says that at 17 years old, she boarded Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, Paris to New York. Her agent, Jean-Luc Brunel, was with her. So were 30 other girls. Beautiful and very young, she told Brazil's O Globo newspaper. I felt immediate discomfort and wanted to get off the plane. I sensed something was wrong, but I did not fully understand the abuse at the time. She doesn't accuse Epstein of assaulting her directly, but she calls herself a product of his machine, the modeling ecosystem he and Brunel built specifically to traffic in young women. Brunel is dead, Epstein is dead, but Ungaro is very much alive, and she's talking.
Wow. So she has quite a story to tell.
2025.
Quite a story.
Ungaro was arrested in Miami.
Yes, because she have been there
Running an
and the
alleged
years has
unlicensed
added up, and
cosmetic
I'm sure
surgery
she can
clinic.
call names
Botox,
to
procedures,
match
no license.
everything that she's saying.
And just like that,
Everything.
she's
She's
not
been on
just
the
a
plane
detainee.
and everything.
She's a detainee. ICE
Yep.
picks her up. She spends more
But
than 3
this
months
was
in
something that was
immigration
going
detention.
on for quite a while
In
because
September
those beauty
2025,
contests
she asks
and
the
those
judge to
beauty
just deport
pageants,
her.
there
Send
was
her
an
to Brazil.
avenue
I'm done. And
for
that has
that
been
sort of
the end.
activity.
Then Melania opens
Right.
her mouth.
For the trafficking.
All the Victoria's Secret models and all that kind
A
of,
verified
you know,
account.
they were hanging out,
Recent.
you know,
Active
in
since
places.
December 2025. Somewhere in Latin America. The name, Amanda Ungaro. The target, the First Lady of the United States. The message, hello Melania, I was around you for 20 years. You knew I was inside ICE, and you know what hurts after all this time? I stayed close to your family, your mother, your father, at events, at everything else. Not because of you, because of them. So shut your mouth when speaking about me, because I will expose everything I know. No vague accusations, no attorney-drafted statement, no carefully worded press release. Just a woman, a name, and a threat. Nobody asked Melania Trump to hold that press conference. No formal accusation had been filed, no lawsuit, no congressional hearing, no subpoena. She walked up to that podium on her own. And a woman who says she spent 20 years inside that world, at those tables, at those parties, beside that family, watched it happen from somewhere in Latin America, and decided she had something to say. The question isn't whether Amanda Ungaro can prove what she knows. The question is, why did the First Lady of the United States feel the need to deny it first? That answer? We're still waiting for it.
Yes, we are. You know how we petty on the side. We can't wait for that thing to come from under the rug, Melania, so we can really know what's going on or off with that piece of information. But
Right.
most
She
beauty
said
queens,
that. Listen, she said that Melania tried to get her caught up in an evil mission concerning children.
yep, yep, because there was a time, I don't know where this piece of news disappeared, but a 40-foot container was left somewhere, and a curious bypasser opened it and saw a bunch of children. Now, this happened about 2 years or 3 years ago. It came out, but that person who made that report and took the pictures, that person is no longer around. They disappeared.
You know, I heard a rumor today that said that they're losing workers at the docks, and they're complaining about they getting tired of hearing the children screaming and hollering for help inside of various containers.
Oh, yes. Yep. That story is going.
Inside of the shipping containers at the docks.
Yes. And one woman apparently was going to work a morning, minding her own business, heard it, took a picture, and somehow published it. And now this woman has disappeared.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So
I'm
there's
not
something
proud.
happening. Something very sinister is happening at the docks.
Listen, something is very sinister happening all around the world. Listen, it turns out that all of the people that we were told to look up to. So this is not something that's just happening in America. This is something that's happening all around. This is international human trafficking.
Yes.
What?
Okay. And it deals with all of the elite, sort of
Well,
say.
it also involved the Red Cross. It also involved many orphanages because when
And schools. This one young lady said in her schools there are tunnels under the
oh
school that
oh
lead to different people's homes. They said that there are tunnels under Disney World that they take the kids and take them to these different places to be trafficked.
Oh God.
now Disney World could be a certain type of place because who is really Mickey Mouse? Who is inside that costume? And when he put his big arms around a child and the child disappears, you know, who done it? Because Disney World has been a haven for pedophiles. It's a home away from home.
Listen,
So,
this one child said she, they had her, I think she said for, I don't want to exaggerate, but the number that I have in my mind now is 20 years, but I probably got that number in my mind because of this Amanda thing. But she said that they would have the girls at these parties on the table, like they would food or hors d'oeuvres, and then they would come by and pick which girl they want, take her, do whatever they wanted to do with her for whatever long as they want, and take her and put her back on the table, wait for somebody else to come along and pick her and do the same thing and repeat the process. She said that could go on. She said that could happen 9, 10 times a night. 9, 10 times a night with 9, 10 different men having their way with them. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing that they could do because they know about those that try to escape. They know about those that were killed. They know where the bodies are. They threaten the families. They know about everybody's family. If you don't do this, we're gonna kill your little sister. We're gonna go to her school. When she go to PS so and so, so and so, your mother lived at so and so, so and so, so and so. Look, here's a picture of your mother coming out the grocery store.
yes, but fear has been a great tactic to be used because what really they need is adrenalized blood. So it is only one way you can have blood with such a component because
Yeah.
adrenaline only flows with three stages: fight, fright, and flight.
She
So,
said that they would pick different ones and sacrifice them, right? She said that they would hang them upside down and let them bleed out. And the different elites that were part of the occult would go to the corpse that was bleeding out, stand under the corpse and drink the blood that's bleeding out from the child that they had hanging upside down.
Yes. Strange practices, but yes, that vampire nation is alive and well. They
These
are,
are
in
our
fact,
leaders. These are our elite. These are the ones that are making the decisions about who live, who die. And at the top of it, I mean, the reality of it is when you look more and more at these Epstein files, it looked like Epstein was just the middleman for people like Trump.
yes, because after all, he provided a playground, but he probably wasn't even a player himself. He just provided space.
Well, they said he played, but a more person that really played is your president. And they
Yep,
say that one of the reasons why one of the reasons we went to war is that Epstein is a spy for Mossad. That's the Israeli CIA, and
yep.
they focus on blackmail. They got tons and tons of pictures of Trump and video that they threatened to release if he didn't go to war. So he goes to war so that they don't release the files. He goes to war so that they're not talking about the files. Okay, and he's willing to have thousands of people die for his ego.
Well, again, the ego, the big man, but I also heard something else too. I heard that ego is shaking in the boots because somebody promised him a Charlie Cook. And I'm only saying this once. So I heard he ran quickly to do his bidding because they remind him one shot is all it needed. So shaking in
Listen,
the boots, he had no choice but to bend over.
listen, they need to do us a favor. You see how he ran up the stage about a couple of weeks ago because somebody in the audience hollered Allah Akbar.
Yeah.
He ran up the that was a
Well,
threat. That was a threat
Jeff,
to him.
no, but
Yeah.
let me just jokingly say, why is he running off the stage when he spoke about 2 days before that, not realizing he was the president? Have you seen that part?
Listen, were you talking about the text messages that he sent?
Well, I'm speaking about the fact that he was referring to himself almost in the third person, and he mistakenly called out if it was Gavin Newsom or somebody as president of America
Listen,
instead of governor of something. It was a slip of the tongue, at
I
least
mean, but what?
outside the moment.
Listen, what do we expect from a man that tells us that goes on national television and tell us that he had a conversation with the president of Puerto Rico? What?
Oh, think that was the one.
What?
I think that was the one.
What? He had a president. He had a meeting with the president of Puerto Rico, and he had a meeting with the president of the Virgin Islands. Did you
Yes.
really?
Yeah.
You talking to
I think
yourself again?
I think that was the one where not recognizing myself, I am speaking of the other person I met here. It was one of those moments. I mean, and the world is looking on. I mean, the world is looking on. And
The world is cracking up.
you know who's the most hated comedian right now?
Who's that?
Trevor Noah.
Oh, Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah is doing a Trump injustice. I mean, he know how to song like him. He pulls out all the most ridiculous things that have happened, and he has a field day with him. I think Trump don't like him. I think Trump stated he don't like Trevor Noah. But if you ever get some of Trevor Noah, you'll be like, "What, Trevor? This is your year." It's his year.
Yeah, he was funny. I didn't realize that he was as funny as he is, but I've heard him do a Trump impression, so I would imagine that what he's doing now it's really funny.
Listen, it is his year. He on. Especially what's happening now. He's wrapping that Iran thing up like candy. Yep. Quite.
So many comedians, it's like it's fodder for them because Trump is so I don't even know the word. You know, you get lost in words. The English language is inadequate to describe who this fella is.
Well, one has found it much difficult but even digesting this person. So if we lost for words, we in the right camp. We lost for words because some action was taking place. There's no words to describe what's happening right now with his actions. But
They,
then it but
they
then
receive,
again, Charlie's not him, it's the ego.
yeah, okay.
It- that's a separate entity. You have to buy clothes for yourself and the ego. The
Listen,
ego, yeah, it's a whole new person. It's almost like like a Siamese twin. It's stuck on to you.
you better listen. You better get it under control.
Better do. So I know for this evening, I'm not going to run too much of a long show because I have a little pressing engagement. So how are we looking at time, Charlie?
You got pressing engagement and strippers. We doing all right this week.
No, well, no, but how do you know my present engagements and not my strippers?
Listen, hey, but
It,
Shiloh,
it,
is she trying to get us off this stream?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I don't know which
like
one is more. I don't know which one we
it,
should
it,
dedicate ourselves to, the Epstein files or the
it,
strippers, because
listen,
there's a correlation between Epstein files and
listen. We
strippers.
about to we about to have the
Mm,
Barry files. Like,
yes.
Wait till you find out it's on TV.
Mhm.
He will know better than running behind the camera. Oh
Mm.
God! And then after all, he can say it wasn't him. You all didn't see that.
we, we,
It
we,
wasn't
we,
me.
we ain't see his face, right?
No, no, no. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one. Charlie. We can have our musicians play. Listen, saw me in the camera. Wasn't me.
Mm. It wasn't me.
It
Saw
wasn't
you
me.
on YouTube. Wasn't me.
It wasn't me. It wasn't
I
me.
saw you running. I saw you running behind Empress Sadi, running around with no clothes.
That wasn't
Wasn't
me.
me.
Was me.
That
Wasn't
wasn't
me.
me. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
That
So
wasn't me at all.
you know, we're gonna catch
Wasn't
up for the
me.
next Sunday. I hope my wonderful audience out there could understand, but I do have a pressing engagement with peoples, and you all have a preview. Yeah, but one of the women from the Women Auxiliary is here with me tonight, and I gonna do something for her, and she's waiting, and I'm just going to facilitate her. So for my wonderful audience, we clocking off tonight on the early. Thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks to Shiloh for being there always. Charlie, our engineer. We thank you so very much. But we're gonna wrap up this one real quick and we continue next week Sunday, same time, same platform. To continue our talk about the ego. Get stories right.
And may I salute and be praised to whom all praise, all due is to Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated. Woman Auxiliary presents Empress Sadi Saunders